तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ओम शिव शंकर भोलेनाथ कैलाशपति महाराज की जय। भगवान व्यास जी महाराज की जय। शुक्रदेव भगवान की जय। शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। स्वामी चिन्मयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी दयानंद भगवान की जय। स्वामी प्रबुदानंद भगवान की जय। माता पिता की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। सभी गुरु देवताओं की जय। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। Yesterday we had seen verse number 17. Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmesu yukta swapnavabodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. What one should eat, how much one should eat, and how much one should sleep, how much one should remain awake, all these lakshanas were discussed. Today we will discuss verse number 18. Yada viniyatam chittam atmaneva avitisthate निस्पृह सर्वकामेभ्यः युक्त इति उच्यते यतथा. How to begin yoga? The mind through knowledge sees contemplator and the contemplated as Atma. Yada, when Viniyatam chittam, the mind has gained certain composure. Atmani eva, in the self alone. Avatisthate, remains. Tada, then. Sarva kamebhyah, for all the objects of desire. Nispraha, one who is free from longing. Yukta iti, as one who is accomplished. Uchyate, the person is said. When the mind has gained a certain composure and remains in the self alone, when one is free from longing. Longing here means desires. For all the objects of desire, when the person is said to be the one who is accomplished. Only when the person has gained a certain composure in the mind, and sthirata, and he remains with the self alone. Remaining with the self alone is he is able to understand that all the other thoughts which are coming are not affecting the me, I, the Atma. When one is free from longing, longing means desires. When one is free from all the desires and the objects of desires, then the person is said, then that person is said to be one who is accomplished. The word Vinayate is defined by Shankara here as ekagrata. One must be ekagrachit, ekagra, one with oneself, no other. Meaning that the mind, chitta, has the capacity to remain single pointedly on the object of contemplation alone without getting distracted. In such a mind, both the object of contemplation and the meditator, the contemplator, becomes one and the same. There being no separation whatsoever between the two. The contemplator and the meditator becomes one. Contemplator is the one who has the capacity to remain single pointedly on the object of contemplation without getting distracted, is the person called contemplator, only on one thought. And the meditator becomes one and the same, there being no separation whatsoever. The mind has gained certain mastery, a contemplative disposition, composure by itself, in itself, by itself, in itself, through the discipline that have already been mentioned as qualifications for gaining such a mind. And this mind abides in Atma alone. Tasmin Atmani eva avastishthate, which means that there is no separation between mind and Atma. The mind is Atma, is understood now. When mind leaves all the distractions, thoughts, then mind becomes one with Atma. For the person discussed here, there is no Atma to be contemplated upon, because both contemplator and the contemplated are Atma. Previously there was as though contemplation, whereas now there is no necessity for as though. Contemplation becomes the self, remain in the self alone. The object of the thought becomes the self alone. The result of knowledge is freedom from binding desires. How does this contemplator's mind abide in Sat Chit Anand Atma? How is it located there? Is it like two objects, one sitting upon one another? No, the mind abides in Atma. The mind is taken as the meditator. The mind abides in Atma, purely in the form of knowledge, clarity. In other words, the meaning of word I is no more a matter of conjecture and mistaken notions for the person. It is not something that one has to contemplate upon. In order to understand it further, this capacity of mind to remain in Atma is the meaning of expression Atmani eva avatishtate. When the meditator becomes one with the Atma through knowledge. The thought of meditation, the object of meditation becomes one with the meditator. Having given up all one's concern and anxiety about the various things that are external to oneself, the person is awake to Atma, meaning that the mind always remains or abides in Atma and therefore is never separated from Atma. For the one who has gained this clarity of knowledge about Atma, there is freedom from longing of all objects of desire. One is nispraha sarvakam kamebhyah. This freedom is not something that must be gained separately, but it is natural condition of having gained the knowledge itself. We have already seen that the word kama has two meanings: the desire itself and the object of desire. The thought process wherein you want to gain an object is called kama, and that which you desire is also called kama, because kama is used throughout Gita in the twofold sense. We have to see the context in which it is used to understand its meaning. Here it means object of desire. Kama means object of desire, and kama means desire also. What are the objects of desires? They can be both drishta, seen objects, whatever you can accomplish now, and adrashta, unseen, something that you have not seen, like punyas. Punya is desirable to you because it brings you something desirable later. Punya is like a currency. You cannot enjoy it in and of itself, but it has a buying power. It can buy objects. Currency in itself is not enjoyable, but you can purchase objects of desires and enjoy them. Thus, punya is an intermediary goal, achieving which you are qualifying yourself, empowering yourself to accomplish various ends such as comfortable situation, wealth, power, and so on. Because the ends are not seen now, they are adrashta. Where end is not seen right now, that is adrashta. Kama can be therefore drashta or adrashta for that which is the result of punya, which itself is adrashta. Suppose a man performs a particular fire ritual for the purpose of gaining something here in this world. The ritual itself does not produce the object, since what he wants out of the ritual is not fire. While performing a ritual, there is a fire alone which is being feeded. But fire is not what is desired. Rather, by performing the ritual, he gains certain grace of punya, which removes all the obstacles to his effort to gain what he wants. This is what is called adrashta. Naturally, then there is a desire, kama, for adrashta as well as drashta. The definition of an accomplished person. Who is the person who is accomplished? The person discussed here is free from all the longing for all. objects of desire. Both drashta and adrashta, nispar sarva khamebhyah, the longing for objects, known and unknown, visible and invisible, has gone away. The desire for objects, known or unknown, visible or invisible, drishta or adrashta, there is no desire left. Therefore, the person is said to be one who is accomplished. Yuktah iti uchyate, meaning that the person is contemplation has become successful. The manan, the desires for the object, whether you know them or not known, whether visible or invisible, all desires are gone. Therefore, the person is said to be one is the one who is accomplished. Yukta iti uchyat, meaning that the person is contemplation has become successful. What does it mean to call someone accomplished? How can being the oneself cause all the longings to go away? The reason one longs for object is crave for object is due to not knowing oneself. Longing also means craving, desiring, desperate desiring for objects. Therefore, when this self-knowledge has been gained, when the mind abides in the self-knowledge, the person is fulfilled and the mind and happy. One knows that Atma does not require any improvement for one's security and perfection, because there is no lack in Atma. The sense of lack is not there for the person. The nature Atma being Purana, Purna, full, the whole, there is nothing to improve it. How much you crave for fullness through desires, you cannot become full. Only through knowledge, only through Gyan, one can become full. There is no other way of becoming full. There is no other way. No objects, no object can complete you. No desire can complete you. No ritual can complete you. Only the self-knowledge, knowledge about the oneness with the whole, makes you Purna, full, the whole. Therefore, there is nothing to improve on. The people ask, what will happen when I get knowledge? When I will become knowledged? When I will achieve Purna? Sir, you are already Purna. Already Purna. You just have to correct the error about yourself. This is the knowledge. This is the Gyan. Already Purna. There is nothing in the creation which can make you full, because you are already full, complete. The person who recognizes the nature, Swarupa of oneself, desires are born of fullness and not out of a sense of lack. In fact, the desire of such a person are privilege. Having a mind that has great capacity to desire. Whereas for a Jnani, one who does not have knowledge of the self, There is sense of want centered on I. When a jnani desires, it is it is a privilege, because he knows it. The desirable is not centered for the I. Whereas for jnani, the desire is centered on I. It is not that the mind is lacking in something. For example, when you say the body lacks, the lack is centered on I, which you identify with the body. The body naturally has its limitation, and in that sense it can be said to lack. That the body lack is not the problem, that I lack is the problem, born of not recognition of the Swarupa, the nature of I. All desires stem from these sense of lack, centered on I alone. All desires for a jnani are centered at I. These are the desires that are binding, that are bondage in nature, because their fulfillment is the basis upon which I think I am going to discover some sense of security in myself, some kind of satisfaction for myself. This is why fulfilling my desire becomes my main purpose in life. The sooner or later I discover that desires have a knack of breeding like rabbits, I either give up and become a hobo or go crazy. The point here is that desires born of my senses of lack are endless. And having discovered this fact, my inquiry begins. Therefore I ask, who am I? Am I really seeking something? Why am I seeking? Am I seeking something other than myself? Or I am seeking myself? That this question, this inquiry comes only when you understand that the desires born out of senses, sense of lack, sense of incompleteness, are endless. The sense of incompleteness gives birth to desires. And these desires, until and unless this incompleteness is fulfilled, the desires keep on growing, breeding like rabbits. So one has to discover this fact, that I am not incomplete is the understanding. This understanding leads to the questioning to oneself. Who am I? In fact, I am seeking myself, the problem being that I have sense of lack centered on myself. I want to be free from this lack. This is all I want. If I am a person whose nature is stuck with sense of lack, then I can never get rid of it. But now and then I see myself free from this sense of lack. Whenever I open my eyes and see something so beautiful, that I also open my mouth and say, what a beautiful thing. I find myself free from any sense of lack. There is heaven inside me. Whenever I laugh, it is all heaven because I have these two versions of myself. One with the sense of lack and one without it. A very valid doubt arises in me. I begin to think that I am confused about myself. Perhaps my conclusions are wrong. This doubt marks the beginning of an inquiry into myself. The person discussed in this verse has come to know the self by means of such an inquiry, accompanied by whatever discipline those are necessary to prepare the mind so that the knowledge could take place. The mind of this person has no more doubt and is totally awake with reference to Atma. There is no more group guesswork or vagueness, and the person is naturally free from all cravings for desires and attachments. Further, Bhagavan says in verse number 19, an oft quoted illustration to describe the mind of accomplished person. He gives an example of accomplished person. Yatha deepo nivatastho nenangate somapasmrata yogino yachittasya yunjato yogamatmanam. Yata means just as. Nivatastha, protected from the wind. Deepaha, lamp, a diya. Na ingate, does not tremble. It does not tremble. The protected one. Atmanah yogam, contemplation of the self. Manan of the self. Yungyataha, of one who practices yoginaha. Yugyataha, one who practices yoginaha, of the meditator. Yachittasya, for the composed mind. Sa, this upama, illustration, samrata, is cited. Bhagavan here gives an example of a lamp. A lamp protected from the wind does not tremble. This illustration is cited for the composed mind of the meditator who practices contemplation of the self, who thinks about the self, thinks about the Atma. An illustration cannot give you the knowledge of the object of illustration, but it can bring one's understanding of a little closer. To say a water buffalo is like a water buffalo is not an illustration, because your understanding of water buffalo is not brought any closer to the object, water buffalo, than it was before the statement was made. Whereas the statement of water buffalo is like a huge cow gives you a clear understanding of what a water buffalo is. It belongs to the cow family and it is huge. When you actually see a water buffalo, you will then know exactly how it differs from a cow. This statement is an illustration, upama. Similarly, here the people who have contemplated upon Atma, who know Atma, have likened the mind of a wise person to a flame. They have related the wise person's mind as a flame that is protected from the wind. Like mind is protected. They say this mind is not tremble. It does not mean that that it awakens in any way, but like the flame, there is a continuous flow of light. In fact, a flame is not really a flame. If you could reduce the speed at which the flame rises, you could find that it is moving all the time. The point being made here is that in spite of this movement, the flame does not shake at all. Similarly, the well-mastered mind of yogi, the wise person, has a continuous flow of vrittis, thoughts, but it does not tremble for any reason. See, nobody can stop thoughts from coming in meditation also. But the wise person doesn't flow with the thoughts. Thoughts come, thoughts go, thoughts come, thoughts go. He doesn't flow with them. It does not tremble out of fear or agitation or anything else, meaning that it is never swayed by any situation that confront the person. And only those who know that mind of a yogi can cite such an illustration, Upama. An illustration is needed to understand what mind of wise person is. An illustration must be known to both the person citing it and the person to whom it is being cited, and it should be close to that which is to be conveyed. Why was an illustration cited here by those who know the mind of wise person? Because the one being addressed cannot at this point in time envision the mind of such a person. Just as a child cannot possibly envision the problem of an adult, not yet understanding the adult aspects of life. Suppose a child hears his father saying, "Oh no, the stocks have gone down." He sees that his father is unhappy, his mother is unhappy, and everyone around is unhappy. But the child does not understand why the adults are crying. All he wants is one more toy. This is because there are two different minds all together. Only when the child becomes an adult he understands. An adult mind can be shifted by the child's mind that he or she has carried over into adult mind. But until a child becomes an adult, his or her mind will have only a child's problem. A father is not getting the toy. That is the problem for a child. Stocks, he doesn't matter. Even if a person who is 25-year-old still wants balloon dolls and marbles, the person has no real problem, although the other people around may naturally think otherwise. The problem only comes when one is an adult with a child inside craving for all kind of security and attention. Only the toys have changed. Earlier it was the plastic toys, now it is the stocks. Commodities, what do you call commodities? Such a person cannot relate well to another adult who is an adult in all the way, meaning a person with a mature mind, a mind that does not pose a problem for the person for whom the mind is only an instrument. This mature mind is the one that is likened here to flame for those who cannot envision such a mind. Something that can be seen or envisioned does not require an illustration. If it is available, it can be shown to the person. For example, I can say, this is crystal. Since I am showing it to you, I need not tell you that crystal is like a glass. because the crystal is available. An illustration is not required. Whereas if you do not know what a bison is, but you know what a buffalo is, I can tell you that bison is like a buffalo, because there is an approximation between the two. Your understanding of bison is little closer than it was. Similarly, the flame is an illustration to help you to understand what a mind of a wise person is like, cited by people who know that it is all about. In this verse, the word yogam yunjate can be taken to refer either to person who is following Patanjali's eightfold yoga called Ashtanga Yoga, or person who contemplates upon Atma. Yoga itself is the practice, which means that the person attempts to unite his or her mind with the desirable Atma. Yogyata yogam atmanah. Yogyataha. Shankara defines yogata here as one who practices yoga. This contemplation is uniting the mind with the Atma, which Krishna discusses further in next 4 verses, which we will do tomorrow. The verse number 20. The mind mastered by Dhyana Yoga abides in oneself. He says, Yataro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yetra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. Yatra, when yoga sevaya, by the practice of meditation, niruddham, mastered, chittam, mind, uparamte, abides in Atma, uparamate, yatra, when, cha, and atmana, by oneself, atmanam, oneself, pasyana, pasyana, seeing, atmani is oneself, eva, alone, tushyati, one rejoice. When the mind mastered by the practice of meditation abides in Atma, and when seeing oneself by oneself alone, one rejoices in oneself. Atma is the word Atmanam, refer to Satchitananda Atma, meaning that one sees oneself as Brahman. With what does one see Atma as Brahman? The mind. With the mind, Atman, Atmana, by the vritti, the thought, recognizes oneself as Brahman. One rejoices in Atma, Atmani tushyati. How does one see Atma, ji? Atma is seen by the mind. By the vritti, thought. With the help of mind and thought only, recognizes oneself as Brahman. Thus, there are 4 case ending here for Atma. The second case, exhaustive, Atmanam, meaning oneself. The third case, instrumental, Atmana, meaning by oneself. And the 7th case, locative, Atmani, meaning in oneself. And who rejoices? The yogi, the self, Atma. Yogi, the self. The yogi, the self. The oneself. The first case, nominative. The agent of rejoicing. Thus sees oneself by oneself. One rejoices in oneself. Atmanam pasyan. Atmani tushyate. The person rejoices in Atma. The nature of Atma being Ananda, free from sense of lack. We will see this implication of this verse in the discussion in the next verse, verse number 27. The Sukha, that is yourself. This we will discuss tomorrow. There is a great understanding in the next 4 verses. वैसे तो whole Gita is an understanding only, complete understanding. So, just keep on thinking about the self alone. Whenever possible, wherever possible, while doing the karmas even. Because everything else is just sadhana for Brahma Jnana, including this body, including the mind, and including senses, and including all the sense objects. They are just sadhana. Sadhana for Brahma Jnana. And don't get swayed away in sadhanas. Remain with the topic. While enjoying the sadhana, be with the topic. While enjoying the sadhana, be with the topic. Have the more happiness. Ananda will be, a different Ananda will be there. The level of Ananda will increase. While enjoying some sadhana, something, some phala, while enjoying gulab jamun, just be with the topic also. The taste will be different. The level of Ananda will be different. This is what is to be understood. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Om